And up to the top, finally back with a new Unity 3D tutorial for you. Today we learn how to make different camera modes for a third-person controller. We will have a look at directly attaching the camera to our character as a child object to follow our character, versus using a script to smoothen out the movements. We then move on to tweaking the script to follow the character, but without rotating around him. And finally, we will restrict the character's movement to only one axis to create a 2D feel game, even though we are in a 3D environment. So let's not waste any more time and get started. Make sure to hit subscribe because you know why. Let's start by importing the characters package from the standard assets, so we have a demo character to play with. After importing the package, you will find the third-person character if you go to the standard assets, characters, third-person character and prefabs. Drag it into the hierarchy so we can get an instance of it in our scene. However, right now it's not going so well for our character. Let's create a plane to give him some ground. Now as we start the scene, the character can be moved around via the arrow or the WASD keys. However, our camera remains static. Probably the simplest way to create a follow cam is to add the camera as a child to our third-person character. To do that, simply drag the main camera object onto the character in the hierarchy. The camera will now follow the player's position and rotation, keeping the original offset, meaning its relative position to the player. You can easily adjust the camera's position a little bit to tailor the scene to your needs. Use the shortcuts shown to quickly move stuff in the scene view. The result is pretty edgy, as the camera directly follows the player's movement. This might be the right choice for some games, depending on what you're going for. Notice that it starts glitching as I try to move the character backwards. Let's avoid all that by using the smooth follow script from the standard assets. It's a script that's already made and ready for you to use. You will find it in the utility folder, or simply type smooth follow as you add a new script to the main camera. Now all that's left to do is to connect our target, which is our player. Use drag and drop to connect the third-person controller to the target variable. Adjust the distance variable if you want to move the camera a little closer behind the player. It kind of works, however this would be a different type of game where the camera is following the player but not rotating with it. Let's fix this by changing the rotation damping to something like 1.5. Now the camera follows the player like before, but without the glitches. Let's actually remove the rotation again and lower the height a bit so we view our player from the side. Notice how he can move freely in all directions. To restrict the player's movement along one axis, for example, we can freeze the Z position in play mode. However, when we try to set it whilst not in play mode, it gets overwritten as soon as we enter play mode by the start method in the third-person character script. To prevent this, open the script for editing and find the correct line in the start method. Add the constraint in question, so in our case, rigid body constraints dot freeze position Z. Now as you start the scene, the character can no longer move in direction of the Z-axis. And that's it for this tutorial. I hope you could take away something for yourself, and don't forget to hit subscribe and stay tuned for more videos like this one.